welcome to episode 173 of the Rustical Gaming Podcast. I'm your host and GM, Alex, and with me today I have...
Ben Meredith.
Bryn Monroe.
Lydia Nicholas.
And Helen Gould.
And who are you playing?
Zolf Smith.
Hamid Salah Haroon Al-Tahan.
Cell Side Bottom.
And Azu!
And everyone is ready for something to go wrong. All of the pieces are in place.
Oh, it's all going to go right.
Everything
Alex,
is going to be
I've
fine.
managed to isolate everyone in the sky in an unreliable vessel due to environmental factors as far from civilization as I can realistically get you, and have filled it as full of characters that people like as I can.
I mean, to be fair, civilization wasn't going very well. You know.
This is less of a epic journey and more of a retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take this ship all the way to another planet and repopulate.
Oh, yeah, at least away from London.
So, in terms of where we're at, everyone is actually ready. You've oh, goodness me, you have set yourself up for the reverse new and old Trons.
Mm-hmm.
And something I didn't clarify earlier, which is worth mentioning, is the speed that you believe it's required, that 88 knots, that's actually just within the realms of the vehicle as it is, by virtue of the way that you built it. Funnily enough, if you had built it without the extra stuff, you wouldn't have been able to do it, but you kind of got ahead of me on that one.
Cool.
So
Yeah, it's faster than normal cruising speed, but the engines can cope, Captain.
You're at the upper limits of what is like safe, but it is still in the safe side of things, and I can tell you now, your average airship wouldn't have been able to do it. So
we
good
have
job on that one, I
three
guess.
elementals. Yeah.
Yes. And
But you didn't
we
go for
built the
four,
whole
which would
airship
have
to be
exploded.
a spiky sports car amongst airships, as I recall.
It's true. So with that in mind, then I am going to have jumped ahead to Wild, handed over to Zolf. Zolf is already set up to sail. Everyone is settling in, and I am going to say now that we are going to start as we start hitting the Borealis for obvious reasons.
Okay.
I would say that the conversation was civil, if a bit hushed, within the hold. A little less tense than it was the first time round, and a little bit more supportive, I guess would be the way to describe it. But people are dropping off prior to getting to the Borealis, like obviously prior. A few of them have actually just fallen asleep because it's, warm, close, not in an uncomfortable way, and it's like 2 a.m, 3 a.m. So as a result, people are dropping off naturally. Admittedly, I suppose for Cell that might feel a little bit deja vu, but it is different. It is like people dropping off and just having a little bit of a thing. With that in mind then, last chance, is anyone wanting to do anything in the current setup before we hit Borealis?
Yes. When I wake up after my nap, I am going to cast Read Weather, a spell actually being cast. Who knew?
Ooh.
I don't think you've ever done this before.
So it takes a minute. It's basically just a bit of internal concentration, and spell allows you to forecast the weather at your location for the next 48 hours, providing you advance warning of storms, tornadoes, so on. Only reveals weather that would arise naturally and does not take into account any magical occurrences that might change the weather. So basically, I'm not looking for Aurora info, but also there's a big storm that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
You don't believe that a storm is... It's 48 hours, right?
Yeah.
You don't believe that there is a storm within 48 hours, but you are overdue one in this region. But it is genuinely clear skies all around.
Grand.
However, in this region, there's always something going on. So you're getting kind of low-level pings of this could be a thing in a couple of days, but not batten down the hatches, if you know what I mean.
Great. That's exactly what we need.
Hamid will cast Heroism on Zolf again as they approach the deadline.
Yeah, sure.
What does that do again?
+2 to basically everything for 90 minutes.
Cool.
In which case, then, I'm going to open with, can I get a perception check from Zolf?
Yes. Perception. With a +2. Hooray!
Whoa! I kind of want you to roll like an 18 or something and thus hit a DC. Just to really validate it.
No, I hit 27.
So instead, that +2, we're like, you missed it by 1 instead of actually helping by 2. God. Okay, cool. With that as a check, yeah, the Borealis is handling itself more or less as you expected. However, I am going to throw you some extra stuff, which is you obviously have passed that graveyard stuff, and as a result, that was a lot of scattered detritus and things. Nearby, there were things that were obvious. It isn't even a thing that I've brought up now, where it's like things that would once have been the tracks of these animals, like depressions in the land and blah blah blah. you think you are starting to see, in inverted commas, fresher depressions on the ground ahead. To be clear, you can't see something like on the horizon or anything like that, but you are seeing something that doesn't look like it's been there 1,000 years. You look like you're seeing something that's been here, recently-ish. It's quite difficult to apply normal tracking rules to this, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, especially when you're flying above it.
Yeah, but that's why you're able to see it. Is it's literally look down and go, this looks like the tracks of a small animal close by.
Yeah.
It's not. It's the tracks of a very large animal far away. So, you start heading towards the Borealis, and we start hearing the tones again. I would say by this point, you know what, for the sake of my ease, all of the NPCs, apart from Earhart, are probably asleep by this point. Earhart, you can see, is willfully sitting awake and finding ways to keep herself up, and is, pinching a hand occasionally and things like that. At which point, the tones start as before, the wisps start as before, and can I get my first will save from Zolf?
Oh, yeah. Could you let me know when the 90 minutes has elapsed?
Yes, I will.
Good luck, Zolf.
That's a 30.
Hey!
Boo!
No! Way!
Yeah, it turns out being prepared, knowing what's coming, all of the distractions are a lot less distracting, where it's more
also,
like,
Alex,
we're at phase 2, weird wispy thing.
Right now my base bonus is 17, so I would need to roll really quite badly.
Good job I set my DC this second to at least 19. No, you're fine.
I will take those odds, that's fine by me.
There's awful odds in your favour. So it proceeds more or less as it did last time. Can I get a will save from Cell, please?
18.
Okay, cool. All of you start to feel that slightly gentle lulling that happened last time. Of Earhart, Cell, and Zolf, all three of you are wide awake. In terms of Azu and Hamid, I'll let you make a call as to whether your characters just decided to go to sleep earlier, and on a rare treat, I'm not going to get you to roll to see if you just don't go to sleep, because I'm decided not to be that cruel today. But I do need to know if you're willfully trying to stay awake or if you're just going with the flow.
Azu is still scared of wild magic and doesn't really want to know what it feels like to be transported out of the body she's in and into someone else.
That's fair.
So she's gonna have snuggled up with Kiko in a corner and gone to sleep there.
Which is going to be really awkward for the owners of those bodies when
Not snuggles, not snuggled. Just nearby.
Oh yeah, that's quite the dilemma.
Oh, right.
Do you snuggle with the person who you know is there, or do you preemptively snuggle with the person that's going to swap in? What a dilemma. How about you, Hamid?
Hamid will probably be trying to stay awake till most other people are asleep. He's not like he's not like he doesn't want to be awake for the whole experience or anything, but he wants to kind of make sure other people are okay, and he wants to make sure Cell is okay as well.
In which case, then, can you give me a will save as well, please? Azu's long gone on the sleep side of things.
Azu's a very heavy sleeper.
Well, the thing is from your perspective, due to the scale change, you're in a very, very large and comfy room.
I bet she snores. I bet she's doing little tiny kobold snores. Yeah.
15 total.
15. You're starting to feel drowsy, Hamid.
Yeah.
And you recognise it as an artificial drowsy. It's not necessarily unpleasant, but it isn't sneaking up on you. It's more like being put under, say, a general anaesthetic where you know it's happening. Okay, time presses on.
Mm-hmm.
Zolf, you start to feel the movements of the ship of last time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where it starts to do that gentle anticipation of turns and so on.
Yup.
It does really genuinely seem to be hitting the same beats as last time.
Okay, that's good.
It doesn't seem to be wildly digressing from what any of you were expecting, at which point your 90 minutes is up. Bah. I am going to warn you now, because I know you have a bunch of stuff coming in, that you're going to start feeling the drowsiness creeping in again, so I'm going to expect another will save from you.
Yeah, just going to...
So if you want to cast your stuff, you can.
Yep.
Hamid, you know for a fact that casting within where you are is a bad idea.
Yeah. Hamid will basically say a few final words of encouragement to Cell and then lie down and actually sleep.
Okay. Yeah, you just go out like a light. The second that you stop trying to fight it, you just out like a light. Earhart takes a moment and comes over and then sit next to Cell for a moment. Thank you, Cell, for all of this. This would have been extremely difficult without your input.
Well, don't thank me until it's done.
I don't think you're going to make things worse.
Well, I mean, it's my fault that it's as bad as it is, so...
Or it's thanks to you that we didn't all turn into various types of sentient pot plants and then explode.
Oh no, not again.
Yeah, she does actually get a laugh out of Cell for that. Well, not for want of trying. You do your best, right? And it's but it's very hard to tell when you're doing your best or when you're kind of arrogantly taking other people's lives into your own hands and destroying them by thinking that you're doing the right thing for them.
I need you to know. I need to ask a question of you. Is this Cell? I'm assuming this is Cell talking about Cell.
Yep.
Thankfully, Earhart rolled uncharacteristically high on a sense motive, because initially Earhart's like, what? At which point then, as you carry on, Earhart just goes, we're talking about you, aren't we?
What? Yeah, yes, of course, sorry. It's gone wrong before. And I lost everyone. So I know it's probably going to be okay. How about you? You have a sleep. I think that it'll work much better if you're sleeping. And I'll take care of looking out for making sure that the box is working, because last time a lot of weird stuff happened, and I'll just make sure that all of that is taken care of and doesn't disturb you folks, and nobody needs to get lost, and nobody needs to be sad ever again. It's all good.
Oh, well, Earhart stands and basically starts to leave you to it, yawning on the way. Just remember, Cell, if this goes wrong, it is going wrong despite you, not because of you. And then Earhart just kind of cutches into a corner and is basically out like a light.
Cell has also, without kind of making a big thing of it at all, put the flagon and rope, like, in the corner, like, hopefully outside of the metal thing, because, of course, it wouldn't work if they were inside. But they've been sitting on the shelf next to Cell's bed the whole time, and are now sort of just outside the box, and so, they look hopefully.
In which case, then, can I get... Ben, are there any things that you want to do to boost yourself up, knowing, like, you are actively feeling the draw?
Yes, in which case I'm going to cast Bless on myself. It lasts 9 minutes, but if I can actively, like, feel something start to try and do an effect.
I'll allow that to give you a benefit at this point.
Yeah, so that's fine. Also, all allies within a 50-foot burst, which I think probably covers everyone. Because 50
we're in a
foot's
box.
quite... well, yeah, it depends if it gets through the box.
I am going to say no in this case, because there's too much stuff happening around.
It's also probably good, because if it got through the box, then we'd have issues. Yeah.
Then the box is not working. Yeah, okay, cool. In which case, then, can you give me a will save, both of you, and yeah, you can factor in the Bless, Ben.
And also, actually, I have a question. Dwarves have Hardy, which means I get a +2 for saving throws against poison, not relevant, but also spells and spell-like abilities. I don't know if that's relevant here, but it might be, and I haven't mentioned it before.
I'm going to say no.
That's fine.
Because this is more of an environmental effect.
That's
but
fine.
I would remember that in future, because I think that's probably come up a couple of times and we haven't.
It's quite good. It's actually quite a good thing.
It's pretty decent. Yeah.
It's like a whole feat.
Cell only rolled a 12, so I assume they are unconscious.
My brain.
Oh, your number's getting too big, Ben.
No,
poor Ben with his massive will saves.
No, it's not at all. It's 23. Yeah, 23.
We're getting somewhere. Okay.
Sod off.
Sel, you finally drop off. The only person awake on the ship is now Zolf.
Yikes. Yeah,
Good.
thanks for the assist, Wild. Great backup you were, and this is why I'm flying the bloody ship.
At which point, then, I am going to
Sing
jump
an
time
air
ahead
shanty.
No.
I'm going to jump time ahead a little bit, at which point the ship is doing the same thing where the ship is starting to steer itself and you start seeing minor points of thing on the ship start to organise themselves. You also see the bar at the bow, very slowly at first, but as increasing speed, starts to disassemble itself.
Oi!
And the components start, like, tidying themselves up and effectively starting to draw themselves back below deck into the hold and so on.
Oi, we wanted that! Stop it!
They don't stop it.
At least bring me a drink while you're at it.
Eventually, a small mug does drag itself across the deck and place itself at your feet.
I will pick it up and have a sniff.
It appears to be a standard grog. It isn't any of the posh stuff.
Alright, much obliged. And I'll down it and pop it back down.
It scoots off to join the others, but yeah, unfortunately, it turns out when you have a bar deconstructing itself, it can deconstruct itself faster than other people can construct it.
Yeah.
It is rapidly ceasing to be. Thankfully, it's doing things like all the ropes are coiling themselves really nicely as they roll away, and the sheeting is folding itself elegantly before it does so, but the ship is stowing everything that's been used on the bar.
That's going to be a weird bloody conversation.
The ship wants to be ship-shaped.
Does.
I've just realised what the ship's doing is it's returning to factory settings.
Yes. And also, I've got the right voice for Bristol fashion as well, don't I?
Oh yeah, you do. Fair point. Can I get a fresh will save from you, Zolf?
Hooray. I'm assuming the 9 minutes has elapsed.
Oh yes.
I'm out of help. Still above 20. It is... Is it? Oh yeah, no, it's higher than last time. That's fine. I'm getting myself worried for no bloody reason. It's 28.
Can you give me a perception check, please?
Yes. That's less good. That is a 14.
14. Things are starting to be a little bit different to last time. Specifically, the density of the Borealis is seemingly starting to increase beyond its heaviest last time, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
As a result, you are feeling a much heavier draw to sleep, but you are keeping yourself together.
Yeah.
But you are starting to lose visibility. Eventually, it's like, okay, I don't actually know where the ground is now. All you can see are the colours all around.
Mm-hmm.
But it's reaching a density where, at the moment, you can still see the whole ship. But as time is ticking by, it's like, at some point you realise you've lost sight of the extreme, like the bowsprit and stuff like that.
Are the instruments behaving sensibly?
No.
Piss.
They haven't gone completely wild at first.
Okay.
Is the ship managing to maintain the 88 knots speed that we said we needed?
So, things that happen. The 88 knot speed is being maintained. The first weirdness you notice is that the horizon meter starts to shift. You are absolutely certain that the horizon is not shifting, because at some point it starts doing things where it's like the horizon is trying to be like the wrong way up.
Yeah.
That can't be possible. Everyone would immediately fall off the ship.
I cover up that instrument so it won't mess up my ability
Yep.
to... Yep.
That's actually really sensible. The altitude meter starts swinging wildly, and I don't mean it just goes up, or down. It's like about 1,000 feet up, about 2,000 feet down, 2 feet up, 1 foot down, 50,000 feet up. It's just like, whoa, hang on.
That gets covered as well.
Yeah.
I love this method. I don't like it, so I shall not see it.
Well, it's more if I try and trust the tools in a moment of panic. It'll make me make the wrong call.
As the visibility of the ship decreases, you've reached the point where you have lost half of the deck, and you are now losing the trapdoor down into the hold that everyone else has used.
This is horrible. I do not like this at all. I think we get some nervous humming from Zolf at that point, where he's effectively flying completely with no information, just has to trust that it won't go wrong.
Yeah. At this point, the ship is still seemingly trying to steer itself,
Yeah, which is good.
but you're at the point of, like, you have 0 points of reference. Like, utterly 0 points of reference. Visibility is dropping like a was going to say like a stone. That makes no sense. Visibility is
Like a
worsening
stone
by
in
the
your
second.
face! Like you smashed your
stone
face
in
into
the eye.
mud! Yeah.
Stones in my eyes. Ah!
All I can see is gravel and blood. It's not nice.
One instrument seems to be functioning correctly at this stage, which is what is effectively your speedometer, your airspeed measure. It starts to tick up very slowly.
Okay.
So it's like if it was at 88, it goes, 88 and a half, 90, 90 and a half, 100. To be clear, you can feel a slight acceleration to things. Everything else is basically giving you obviously false readings. There is definitely something happening to your speed.
If I try and slow us down, does the ship respond?
At first, yes. You realise what this feels like. You've done a lot more sailing on the sea than you have in a river.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like sailing in a river, where you can try and slow against the current and so on, but as you do, you start introducing, like, twists and turns, and it starts to, at first, it will decelerate, but the longer you're trying to fight what feels like an increasing current, the more the ship starts to, at first, vibrate very, very slightly, but those vibrations start to build if you try and maintain it.
I take the hint and go with the flow.
Okay. At that point, then, the speed ticks up to where it would have been if you hadn't slowed it down, and it keeps ticking up. Can you give me a will save, please?
That is a 27.
27. Okay, cool. You are keeping it going, but it is reaching the point of this is starting to be a brutal battle of willpower.
I'm slapping my face, I'm creating water over my head,
Visibility has reduced to the point where you can see the wheel in front of you and the instruments and nothing else.
Cool. I treat that like it's my world.
You're starting to reach the point where you're losing visibility of your own feet.
And his feet aren't even that far away.
Yes. Oi!
Okay. At this stage, then, I'm not going to require another will save from you. At some point, you happen to glance towards your speedometer again, and you've decided it must be broken.
How fast is it going?
Silly. Like, it's just topped out.
Sure.
You know there's no possible way you could be moving at that as a speed, because if you were, you'd be flat against the back of the deck being turned into a pancake. Like, it's nonsense. It has to be nonsense.
Sure.
At which point visibility drops to actively 0. If you close your eyes, the lights are that bright that you're just seeing them on the inside of your eyelids anyway. And if you open your eyes, it's exactly the same. It is just everywhere.
I'm just holding the wheel steady, navigating through touch.
I need one last will save from you.
28.
28, cool.
Very consistent with my, 13s and 12s.
So glad you've been rolling well. So glad.
Just as you are about to succumb. As in, you're just like, oh, I've done everything. There's not much more I can do. You notice a waft of, there's the wheel that you couldn't see before. You have no idea how long it's been, to be clear. I genuinely mean you have no point of reference to draw on, and it's felt like an eternity.
Yep.
But the visibility starts to very slowly improve. First you can see the wheel, then you can start seeing, the deck beneath your feet, and it seems to start improving quicker. So it might be that you've passed through a front or something where it's rapidly improving, whereas before it took a long time to build up.
Mm-hmm.
As you do so, you look around and give me a perception check, please.
15.
15. Okay, cool. The first thing that you notice is that it's like someone has given the ship a nonsensical paint job.
Okay.
Lurid green ropes, purple rigging, half of the decking is bright pink, the other half is pure matte black. It appears to have just randomized the colours of everything on the ship.
I quickly check myself.
It would appear that all of the mundane items that are upon you have completely changed colour randomly. I'll let you pick the colours. There is no pattern, there's no sort of sense to it. It is, roll on a colour code chart kind of thing. Utterly random.
I'm not going to do everyone. They are the worst possible colour combinations that you could have. Nothing looks right, nothing looks good.
To be clear, magical equipment doesn't appear to have changed. And your own skin tones, hair, that kind of thing, none of that has changed. We're talking mundane, non-sapient, non-sentient stuff only.
Question then, has anything with my legs changed? Because, we've left it kind of vague, but I'm not entirely clear if the whole thing's magical or if some of it's mundane with magical elements or
The best way I can describe it is that the outer elements of it are utterly mundane, and they have like magical components within that sort of fabricate part of it. So as a result, I would say that the colour of the outer shell of the legs has been randomised, but they aren't behaving strangely in any way.
They're mostly under your go-go boots anyway, right?
It's true. It's very true. But I would say the bits that you can see, the left one has gone like an upsetting bone colour, and the right one is sunshine yellow.
Yay!
Other things that you notice is that the ship is apparently ship-shape. Everything is stowed, everything is buckled, everything is wonderfully excellent. You do notice, however, that all of the instrumentation, I'm going to assume at some point you try to lift the cover on something.
Yeah, I'll check. Yeah.
All of the instrumentation remains useless.
Oh,
Great.
no.
It's still just going blah, 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 blah.
I'm gonna cast Dispel Magic on it.
Okay.
See if it does anything.
Yeah, you manage to start repairing the instrumentation, where it's just like a Dispel Magic and it just settles itself. The horizon suddenly rights itself, the altimeter rights itself, the speedometer rights itself. To all intents and purposes, you still can't see the ground or anything, but everything seems to have normalised to what it was when you went in.
Great. To be clear, like targets one object, so I've used 3, 1 for each instrument.
Yeah, that's sensible. As you expand out further, you do notice that though the ship is ship-shape, a number of items also do appear to have turned into plants. Barrels, coils, things like that. Not pot plants. They are, like, wedded into the ship, as it were. Like, you can see roots that are sort of poking into the timber and so on.
Oh, good.
But it isn't like the whole ship. It's just there are chunks of it where it's like, I'm pretty certain that was a barrel. It now appears to be a lemon tree. Okay.
Aw.
Good for scurvy.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, it's true. Very helpful.
Was it a
actually.
barrel of lemons?
It's a
Where
good
is the
question.
grog
Oh,
gone?
actually, Zolf would know.
Yeah, what's the
Yes.
grog turned into? Good question, Liz.
Yes, it was. There was a barrel of lemons, which has apparently become a lemon tree.
I'm going to lock the wheel briefly, run to the back, and have a look and see if the engines are still fine.
Ooh. Okay, this is a wise course. You see that there are... I'd say that there are 3 engines on this ship. I think we've covered that previously, where you basically have a port starboard, and then you have something a bit more centralised, which is more of your thrust, where the edges are a bit more to do with your direction and so on. The starboard engine is not there.
Oops.
To be clear, it doesn't look like it's been sheared, it's just the ship stops, and there's no engine there.
Oh, dear.
It's just not there.
Oops is, I think, all I can really say to that.
There is a trail of brightly coloured streamers where the engine used to be.
Oh, grand.
Oh,
Very
Grand, that's
helpful.
cool. Very good. Yes,
Useful.
Excellent. Cool.
You notice to your eye that the visibility is increasing even further, and it appears to be that if it's approaching dawn.
Is the ship actively falling out of the sky?
Give me a perception check.
Cool, yeah, great. Fine. I've got the instruments.
It's true.
16.
16. You can't see the ground yet, but according to instrumentation and your own feeling of balance and so on, you are losing altitude. You are not plummeting.
oh.
Right, at that point, I start jumping up and down on the floor and bellowing. Wake up! Wake up!
And I think on that I'll take a break. And welcome back. So, I believe I left Zolf yelling, stomping, and just altogether making a noise.
Use.
Could everyone please give me a perception check?
21.
That's 30 again. That's my second 19.
Look at you go today.
Yeah.
You can even tell the colour of his new legs.
Yeah.
28 for Hamid.
All 3 of you awake to Zolf's yells, and as a brief description of the hold, it's a similar fashion in that there are a lot of lurid colours there. I am afraid that your rope and your beer stein, whatever we're calling it, are not there.
Oh, so they've moved.
They're not there.
Right.
They got stowed,
However,
I think.
it's not the top list of your things that you're noticing, given complete lurid thinking. Like, I'm fairly certain that 3 of the hammocks are now Okay, yeah, three of the hammocks now just appear to have been turned into a large bolt of silk.
Nice.
Just flopped down on the ground.
We can make new hammocks. Luxury hammocks.
Hypoallergenic hammocks.
To your eye, Sel, and to your eye, Hamid, there's been a whole mess of wild magic has gone on.
The first thing Hamid checks is what his hands look like.
I'm going to start by saying that you do appear to have Hamid's hands.
Oh no.
They appear uncharacteristically filthy, and someone has been doing an absolute number on your nails, which you're going to need to start cleaning up a little bit, but it's definitely your hand.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, good. Azu, are you...
He didn't confirm if you had Hamid's head. He just said you had Hamid's hands.
Yeah. We want a full inventory here.
I trust him that far.
Okay. I think that's
Someone's
a mistake,
a
but
fool.
okay.
So yeah, Azu, this weird goat is yelling your name now.
A goat with
human
Hamid's hands.
It's that Adventure Time gif of the deer throwing off its hooves.
Azu is also within her own body.
Is anyone else in there as
Definitely
well?
No one else has woken up.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
I fling myself into a hug with Azu.
Yay! Azu hugs back! Yay!
It's so reassuring to be the smaller person in a hug again.
There is a brief moment where Azu hugs far, far too strong and then acclimatizes.
Yeah. She's like, oh wait, yes, I remember.
Mayday!
It sounds like Zolf might be in trouble. Sel, you all right?
Is Sel all right?
Cell's fine.
Okay.
Not changing anyway.
Right. So you're in the right bodies, right?
Yes,
right?
I'm me
Yes.
again.
Okay.
It's me.
You go help Zolf. I'll wake everyone up.
Okay.
So I rolled perception checks for Skrark and the kobolds as well. Skrark, I think, rolled high enough to also have woken up early. The kobolds did not.
That's fine. Yeah, I'll say that Skrark will have been starting to stir, but I am going to follow the people who are going up on deck first.
Yes.
So who is that?
I am.
Yeah, Azu
Understood.
and Hamid, it sounds like.
So let's follow them up on deck to... What happened here? So, someone picked a fight with a carnival and lost.
Azu is loving it. Azu is like,
Honestly, in fact, yeah, if either of your characters have seen floats as a thing, you know, like the like a parade float vibe, it has that vibe. Like it does, where it's that weird combination of like plant, the odd flowers here and there, like with the colours and so on. Yeah, that's the vibe it does give off.
well, this is exciting.
This is very strange. I mean, not exactly the choices I would have gone with, but it's certainly a lot more colourful. Anyway, Zolf, are you okay?
Yeah, you back?
Yes, I'm me again.
Right, great. We need all hands on deck. We've lost the starboard engine. We're going down. We're not crashing, but we are going to go down.
Oh.
Right, everyone,
dear.
go. Emergency, go.
All right. Okay. All right. Azu's going to go and ring the oh no bell.
Yes.
Oh yes,
That's
good.
what it's for.
Look at you. Yeah. Okay, so as it begins to ring the oh no bell, everyone starts to hear the oh no bell. People start waking up. It's very clear very quickly that everyone seems to be where they're meant to be. Your bizarro kind of weird contraption science but not science has worked, and everyone seems to be where they are but are taking a moment to acclimatise and like settle and so on. But then with the oh no bell, it turns into a bit of a scramble where there's one doorway, there's more NPCs and I have fingers on my hand and they're all trying to get on deck at the same time.
It's all a bit Three Stooges.
Yeah, a little bit. It's that bit from The Simpsons where it's Mr. Burns with the door and the squeegee things and he can't, being ill and all that.
As everyone leaves, at a point where people, unless they're specifically looking, wouldn't be able to see, Sel is crying. But not in a, like, attention-grabbing way, just in the, like, you know, the so much emotion,
Yeah.
it leaks out. But
I'm
in a,
not
like,
going to roll for any NPC. Everyone is way too distracted to be
everyone
seeing that
is
kind of
busy,
subtlety.
which is
Yeah.
what they're relying on.
Everyone who's on deck sees everyone pour up on deck and basically sees a mixed combination of happy surprise, just utter bewilderment, and certainly for Earhart, just stood there going...
All right, everyone. Looks weird. Great. We've lost the starboard engine. We're going down. We're not going to crash, but we are going down. So I need a full, update on the status of the ship. What do we have, what do we not have, and how do we go down in such a way that doesn't get us all killed?
Earhart immediately starts yelling out orders and leaves you steering the ship.
Yep.
I realise that you bolted it, but she's going to be like, get to the wheel.
Oh, no,
now.
I'm on the wheel at this point.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as I notice the starboard engine's gone, I'm, back on the wheel, and that's where I started stamping and shouting and stuff.
Earhart takes immediate command, asks Cell to do an immediate inventory of the engines, requests all of the non-kobold members to take posts for crew, and then tells all of the kobolds to basically take an inventory because they move quicker in the space than anyone else, and just starts immediately getting a inventory of and a sit rep.
Shall I do a knowledge engineering or something?
Yes, please.
Okay, 18.
18?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so the first thing you do is you look over the side and that's not an engine. What? You then have to head below decks to obviously see some of the other stuff and so on. A few things seem to have happened. The starboard engine is just gone. It hasn't been sheared off, it has just ceased to be. What this means is you have to take an inventory of the rest of the engine, and it's okay, cool. We also seem to have just lost a bunch of the innards as they turned into other things. We now have an excess of this fine, what looks to be coal powder. Has no use on the ship, but we have lots of it now. It appears to be, in general, that the ship will be able to continue flying. However, there's no version of events where you will be able to work with what you've got and sustain altitude. This ship needs to put down so that you can get into the innards and start fixing stuff.
Cell knows that most airships actually only have 2 elementals and engines, but is it about the fact that we're now lopsided? So
yeah, the center of mass is off and is worsening.
Right.
As things are still settling within the ship. You're not leaning yet, but it's you know that you're going to list, and if you leave it, you're going to list until you're at a complete vertical.
Right.
That's the biggest problem here.
Mm-hmm.
You reckon that if you were to chuck all of the cargo overboard, you might be able to sustain it, but what you're talking about now is sustaining a thing that should land. Mm-hmm. The correct call is to land, assess the damage, reorganize what you can. You reckon, most airships have 2 engines. You can make it with 2 engines. You don't need to build a new engine.
I mean, we could survive with 1,
Yes, you could, but you have to completely redo all of the instrumentation, the controls, because this is a 3-engineur that's suddenly become a 2-engineur. This is a situation where you can keep it limping along, but the longer it does, the worse it's going to be for you having done so. And this is not a case of if you roll high enough. It's I need a tree for wood to make a new mast type situation.
Yeah. Cell explains this to Earhart, and it may seem at first, because of the general speed at which they talk and tangential way that they talk, that there might be a solution through, but they keep reiterating it's every solution that's thrown at them, they're just no, but I would need to be on the ground to do that, or I might need to be addressing this from the outside. I can't do that from the outside. I'm not saying that we can't fly, I'm just saying that we can't fly like this. So it's about finding somewhere safe. Maybe there's a port somewhere near, somewhere to go down and just to check it from the outside. How much work would it be? Should I roll for that? Is it days or weeks?
You can't even give an accurate guess because you need to be off the ship.
Okay.
This is genuinely a situation of
cool.
Hey, I can keep plugging holes, but eventually it's going to be all plug and no ship.
Yeah.
You can't even get an accurate assessment.
Okay. Sounds like we're going to need to set down in the next few days.
Earhart hears all of this, takes it on board, and basically, pardon the pun, and immediately is just okay, cool, this has become a situation where we need to find out where we are laying down, not if we are setting down. Tahan, I need you to find me a solution with whatever tools you have available. Zolf, we're going to have to discuss the logistics of this. We're also going to need a security detail if we're going to be landing. I am beyond the reach of my knowledge in terms of these areas. This is sort of talking to people as they're going by and so on. That we are a landing. We are not emergency landing, but we are a landing. This is what's going to happen. Let's make it happen.
Do you have any of the maps of where there might be a port or a
We
Or
are.
a place to sit down?
There is nowhere nearby. We're going to have to reduce height as much as possible and literally do a visual scan for a good spot to put down, given where we are and what we know is nearby.
Can you please give me a profession sailor check, Hamid, with your profession navigator?
10.
You have no idea. Like, I can't stress by you have no idea, I mean, not a clue. This isn't like you have an educated guess. Visibility is just reaching the point where you're going to start being able to see land soon. Things that Hamid knows, we're not over the ocean.
Yeah, and even if Hamid had rolled well, like the fact that all the instrumentation went crazy during that last storm means that there's absolutely no way to track.
Actually,
I've
been too harsh.
They travelled during that.
You would know that, as far as you can tell, your bearing is what it was when you last left. Like, the direction of travel and so on is still the same. The issue is where you are acting on that bearing.
The storm messed with the instrumentation a lot. I'm going to need at night time I can take star readings to try and locate us again, but right now it's impossible to tell exactly where we are. Our best bet is to do visual scans of the landscape and get closer to it and just try and spot a good landing spot from the air. In the cause of that, there's actually something we can do to help. If the ship is going slow enough, myself and a couple of others can fly off it as scouts and fly back.
That's actually an excellent idea. The issue with this is that I could see a version of events where we turn out to be a lot lower than we think. Again, I'm assuming that the instrumentation seems to be functioning normally, but we don't know what's happened in the interim. I would like to endorse this, and I'd like to leave this to you, Mr. Smith, to make sure that we happen. We need more information. I just mean pick a person. I don't know who has these skills required.
Hamid, you can fly, right?
Yeah.
All right, off you go. Don't disappear, please, or die. But that's really all I can do.
Is there a second person we can allocate?
Sel, you're pretty good at flying, but you probably need to stay on the ship. Skrark, I think you might actually be able to join me, maybe? I can cast this spell a few times.
I'd like to volunteer.
Great. The visibility's still pretty poor, but it looks like it's increasing rapidly. If Skrark and I just spend a few minutes preparing, and as the visibility keeps extending, we can probably leave pretty soon. But I don't think it's right to just jump off right now.
Whatever happens, do not go outside visual range of the ship. If you get lost, you're gone.
Yeah.
Oh, but if you do get lost, Azu's going to give Hamid and Skrark a compass each.
Oh, nice.
Yeah!
Cool.
Prepared!
Then I'll know where north is.
The compass confirms the bearing readings that you've taken. Like, all of the compasses are agreeing. There's no weirdness happening there or anything like that. In terms of visibility, it's worth mentioning that you have left the Borealis behind you. It appears to be that there is low-level cloud and so on, which has meant that visibility is extremely poor. But it isn't poor of, like, you're in the Borealis. I just mean, there's clouds.
Hamid's going to take Skrark aside and basically start to brief him on what to expect flying at this level, and help both Skrark and Hamid wrap up a bit warmer, because if they start flying solo through the air, it's actually going to get colder, even.
Oh, I can help. Give me a sec. Hamid endure elements, Skrark endure elements.
Oh yeah, I could have done that too, but that's nice.
But you still have your spell slots, importantly. I'm
Yes.
not doing as much.
So as you're discussing this with Skrark's like, yeah, I basically can do this. It's fine.
Fantastic. That's
I thought
such
I
good
should-
news.
Have I thought... Skrark just holds his arms and legs wide and has basically a full, like, I forget what it's called in lizards, but you know the fronds that allow gliding between things?
Yeah! Like
He
a
just
flight
goes-
school.
Amazing.
I thought I'd show you this.
Oh, no, I don't think it's come up before, but that's awesome. That's really cool.
I'll be honest, I mean, this means that going down's fine, but the coming back up, that is going to be very useful, the fly thing.
I think you'll find that you'll be able to go faster as well with the spell. The spell will only last 9 minutes, so you do have to keep a bit of a count in your head. You'll be able to feel as it starts to fade, so just make sure you're not too far, but you'll have to
We're
keep a
going
sort of
to
count
need
in
to
your head.
fly very quickly.
Yes. Well, the good news is we will be able to, and I can cast it multiple times. So if we stick together, I can cast it several times, and we'll get that time over and over.
Do you know a dive bomb as a thing?
I mean, I'm familiar with the theory.
We need to get down very quickly.
Yeah.
It's not enough to sort of drift. He sort of pulls all of his body in,
Yes,
nose
absolutely.
out straight like a needle type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, very important. None of the other kobolds can...
Oh, yeah.
Don't-
Also good to know.
Don't... Yeah, this isn't important.
Don't throw them overboard in hope.
This is what Skrark avoided saying and is making as clear as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Good tip. Okay, great. Well, I think looks like we're coming out of the cloud cover as we descend. So let's go.
Okay, cool. In that case, then, I'm going to stick with Hamid and Skrark, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that with 9 minutes, you are just going to have to dive bomb off the bottom as long as you're not going to lose visibility completely and see how low you can go.
Yeah. And I can cast it several times. So obviously I'm going to cast it twice, and my total number of spells means that I can potentially cast Fly if I use higher level spell slots as well. Oh,
Why
I just
don't you
had the
just
right piece of paper.
cast it on him on the way back up? Like, Cell will point this out if they're in any way near the conversation. Like, he could glide down and you can cast it on him on the way
Yeah,
up.
but I mean, Hamid can't. Hamid has a total of 12 castings of this spell total if he uses up all his level 3 and 4 slots on it.
So is Cell coming along as well, to be clear?
Earhart told Cell to stay on the ship.
Good. I wanted to check that was the case. Sorry, the way the people were speaking, I
But
wanted to check in.
the way that things are going very fast, if they can overhear, if the conversation is being had near people, near groups, then Cell...
I doubt you'd have
So
had
I'll be
chance
like,
to over here.
Yeah, 'cause it's like Cell can fly for 90 minutes.
I think there's too much going on, and Earhart was like,
Yeah.
"Stay on the ship. If anything else goes wrong, no one can fix the ship."
That makes sense.
Hamid is going to change his outfit
Okay.
because
Important.
his normal dress is not suitable for flying.
I'm assuming that
necessarily.
you're changing to some kind of halfling Master Chief, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, but also in as lurid a neon colour as he has access to, so that he is as highly visible as possible.
Yeah.
Oh, bless.
Azu is absolutely going to be like stuck to the railing, trying to see where the two of you have gone.
Question. What colour is Azu's armour? Because unlike any of the other characters, your pink motif is quite important to you, right?
It's magical
Yeah, but
armor.
it's magical. So it should
Ah,
stay
so you're
the same.
fine. You've retained your pinkness. Nice.
Of course I have.
Yep.
Alex wouldn't take that away from me, would you?
Not yet, no.
Hamid casts Fly twice, and Hamid and Skrark dive off the front of the ship.
Can you give me a fly check, please? And since you have Skrark sheet, you can roll for Skrark as well.
Hamid gets 21. Skrark gets 21 as well. They have different bonuses, but they rolled it the exact right amount to balance across the two of them.
Okay, cool.
Aw,
So yeah,
synchronized
Yeah.
flight.
for what it's worth, both of you do a good proper swan dive off the edge and start
Yeah.
plummeting downwards.
Tuck in, tip forwards,
Yeah. Yeah,
arms
yeah.
out, arrows.
You're both doing very, very well, and I'm going to say through the streaming wind and, the tears appearing on your face and so on, you get a glimpse of...
Oh no, I'm sure the new clothes have aviators.
Oh, in fairness, that is your call, yeah.
But remember, they can't give me mechanical benefits though.
Oh, so what they are is they're aviators with no glass. So as you sort of sneak a quick look at Skrark, and Skrark is giving you a look of, not bad, actually. It's alright, it's not too bad. But yeah, you manage to plummet downwards. There is a brief moment where you sort of lose sight of the ship insofar as you are, moving through cloud cover and so on, but not in a case where it's gone. We're talking just like there's a moment of cloud and so on. You drop for all of...
Can I,
Go on.
retcon something very quickly before we jumped
Sure.
off? Hamid can cast both Dancing Lights and Flare. So he can signal his position in a very visible way with Dancing Lights, and he can signal distress with Flare, potentially. So, he has
Sure.
potentially two ways to communicate at long distance through...
Yeah, that's fine. Can I get a perception check from Azu first?
Yeah. 21.
21. Cool. You're able to follow both Skrark and Hamid as they drop.
Yay.
However, they do drop to the limit of your visibility. So obviously they're going to be able to see as far again, but they don't fall out of sight, but they are like proper dive bombing. Hamid, you and Skrark, start diving down, and bit of cloud, and then suddenly there's a moment where the cloud parts, and you find out two things. One is that you appear to be over some kind of, maybe the outskirts of some kind of evergreen forest or something similar, where it's clearly like ice and snow environment, but there is greenery around. The second thing you realise is you are significantly lower, potentially, than the instrumentation might have led you to believe, to the point where it's like you're dropping down. It's like, cool, I'm going to start to level out and see. Oh, that's the ground. Okay, cool. Can I get a reflex save, please, from both of you? And this is how Hamid dies. Dropping like a stone. Splat.
Fall damage is... Oof.
Yep. That's 2 11s, so Hamid has a pretty good reflex save. Hamid gets 21, and Skrark should also have a pretty good reflex save. Skrark gets 19.
Okay, both of you pull up very short, because you also find out that although there aren't mountains as such, this is not perfectly flat ground. And so you've got forward momentum. You're not just going exactly vertical because the ship would leave you behind. But as you're dropping, you sort of pull up short, and you're like, okay, we've got some space. Oh, there's ground. You both manage to sort of save yourself, so you're still at least a good, couple of 100 feet above the ground. But given the speed you were dropping at, that's like whoa.
Yeah.
Skrark's then hovering next to you, going, "We are not high."
Yeah. Seems like a lot closer to the ground than people realise. But the ship's descending quite slowly, and they'll have us to warn them. So let's spread out a little bit, but not too far, and just try and find somewhere to set down. The problem is with the forest, there's not going to be a lot of open space, and we really need a large open space if we can spot one. Let's get a bit higher. I'll head this way, you head that way, and we'll just scan as much of the terrain as we can. Give it a 4-minute count, and then we'll have to come back together.
Can I get a perception check from both Skrark and Hamid, please?
Hamid rolls 27. Skrark rolls 18.
Okay, cool. Hamid, as you are sort of searching around, you see that there is a small clearing. You have to go a bit slightly ahead of the ship and so on. To be clear, the ship is not moving at the 88 knots it was previously. Like, whatever happened with the speed is long over. It's actually moving a little bit slower due to lacking an engine. Shocker. Hamid, you managed to see that there is actually a small clearing a decent distance away, whereby it would be possible, but the ship would need to aim for it now. Like, now, steep descent, let's land it. Otherwise, you both notice that the tree density seems to be slightly increasing in the direction you're going, meaning it's likely to be worse the further on you go rather than better.
Okay, so I will signal to Skrark to reapproach, and we will both head back towards the ship.
Yep, that's fine.
So remember, the fly spell lasts 9 minutes. So does this all happen in the course of that, or am I going to have to recast?
Oh, I've had you zipping about. You're fine, but that was why I was saying, like, when I say there's a clearing that you could land in, we're talking like you land on the deck and immediately go, we land now, or we, like, that's the kind of timing you've got.
Yeah. So we get back to the deck of the ship and explain that as
I would like another
possible.
fly check, please.
Ooh, those are 2 good rolls. Hamid gets 31, and Skrark gets 26.
Okay, yeah, you both managed to
loop the loop on the way up.
you managed to flawlessly sail up over the ship, do a synchronized loop, and land flawlessly. The only difference being that when you land, it's got more of a ta-da, whereas when Skrark lands, it's ta-da, and then the wings suck in.
Okay, we're definitely lower than we thought we were, everybody. There's not a lot of space between here and the ground. Heavy forest. We've spotted a clearing, but if we want to hit the clearing and land in it, we need to start aiming for it and descending a little bit faster right now to come in for landing, or we'll get further into a more dense forest.
Stop, Captain.
Land it.
Right.
We're going down either way. Let's land it on our terms instead of being forced.
Hamid, I'm going to have to give you a quick lesson on brevity next time.
Ground! There! Good! There!
And I'll start trying to land it.
Can I please get a profession sailor check from all party members for your various roles?
Now, here's a question. Do you mean profession sailor, or do you mean profession airship crew?
I mean profession airship crew, I'm afraid.
So Hamid is not going to help with crewing the ship. Hamid is going to cast Fly again. This time, head out in front of the ship.
Yeah.
And continually cast dancing lights to essentially create a landing. You know exactly how they do.
Nice.
Use the dancing lights to create a landing.
No,
path.
that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
And by flying out in front of the ship, he will have a good sight of how the ship can get there and maintain his own ability to spot the landing zone.
That's fine. You just made me laugh. Your phrasing did very much feel like you're going to say, Hamid's not going to help. Because he doesn't want to. Just be tough. Deal with it.
So that was a natural 20, giving me a total of 29.
Thank you.
Speaking of not helping, in my capacity as being the eyes on the ship, I rolled a 5.
Good.
As engineer, Cell rolled a 4. And in ship engineer, I've got that down as add 0. I don't think we added anything. It was just a rank, you know.
So you get a single rank plus your wisdom modifier. So if your wisdom
but
modifier,
Cell is not wise.
If your wisdom modifier is -1, then your flat bonus will be 0.
No, their wisdom is 0.
Right. So you get 1 rank.
So 5.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that means I rolled 8 then.
Fine.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Okay.
you all start to come in. Hamid's work is helping a lot. It's picking up a lot of it. Unfortunately, Azu, it's not necessarily your fault. The visibility as you get lower to the ground is poor. Hamid, you saw this. The cloud cover got denser and then it was just gone. As a result, it is a case of, it's not that you're doing a bad job looking, it's just there's nothing to see. You're literally entering clouds. Whatever. Cell, you realise...
So, having managed to get everyone back in their bodies, they're going to kill everyone this time.
So Cell has the awkward thing where Cell is doing an excellent job maintaining the engines of a 3-engine ship.
Right.
And then realises about 5 minutes in, we don't have 3 engines. We have 2 engines. Nah. And then is scrambling to try and write all of the engineering decisions that have been made and routing things and so on in such a way that you can account for it. So as you're coming in, Zolf, you're nailing the piloting, I'll give you that. However, you do start to feel a pretty heavy list, which is a side effect of Cell just accidentally dropping the ball on something. Yep. You're coming in very steep. You are coming in listing heavily, but you are on target according to Hamid's sort of path that he's laying out.
Is there anything that I can do about this, or is it just a case of trying to keep it and not exploding?
Let's put it this way. With that roll, you are doing everything it is physically possible for you to be doing. This is me heading into basically a narrative description rather than have a reflex save, do this, have a reflex save, do that. Unless you have something special that I'm not aware of, like Right Airship, the spell, or something.
Ah, Right Airship Communal, you mean? Yeah, no, that's... at which point I just yell, brace for impact!
At which point, you all break through the cloud cover. Hamid, we'll do this from your perspective. You are currently casting dancing lights and so on, basically above some treetops with an empty space behind you. It is cold, it is snowy. Thankfully, with the Endure elements, you aren't feeling that, but it is not terrible visibility, but there is a light flurry going on, which is not helping things. You suddenly see the prow of the extremely sharp, blade-covered, multicoloured airship plunge through the cloud cover quite quickly. It's like watching a whale sort of breach the surface. Flip it.
In reverse. Yeah.
You're just like, no, up and long. Zolf manages to account for this sudden, there's like a rise in the way, so on. Trees start clipping along the underneath of the ship as it comes in. Can everyone please, apart from Hamid, give me a reflex save?
24.
20.
13. Off she goes.
Yeah, that's how somebody dies, impaled by a pine tree.
A number of the crew are thrown bodily from the ship. A couple of them didn't have their guy lines attached. At least one of them break. We'll find out who next week.
Oh, goodness.
No! I want a Superman. I want to catch them in midair.
Yeah, that's what future episodes are for.
Okay.
I'm not even ending on you have crashed, which was my original intent. So many people failed that roll that I'm ending on crunch.
Oh, goodness.
People, civilians. Blah! And then we'll end that.
Explode.
Yikes.
Okay.
It's not a boom explosion. It's a person explosion.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, if
Like confetti, just poof.
Yeah.
the good news is that if it's because we just clipped the top of the trees, we can't be high enough for the full damage to be lethal to anyone.
Bryn.
I hope.
Bryn, the full
How
damage
big are the
rules
trees?
are so grim. They're going to be rolling like 8d6, probably 10d6 damage from a bloody
No,
evergreen
it's
tree.
it's d6 per 10 foot. How tall are these trees?
How about we answer all of this next
I mean, it's
week,
alpine.
and I
they're
just
not
leave
that
you
tall.
all with all of your valued friends and family suspended in midair over sharp branches as you plummet from the sky. That's a sensible out.
Young man.
Bye.
Bye.
Rusty Quill Gaming is a podcast distributed by Rusty Quill and licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 international license. Today's episode was directed by Alexander J. Newell and produced by Hannah Preisinger. To subscribe, buy merchandise or join our Patreon, visit rustyquill.com. Rate and review us online, tweet us at The Rusty Quill, visit us on Facebook or email us via mail@rustyquill.com. Join our community on the Discord or via Reddit at r/rustyquill. Thanks for listening. Hi everyone, Alex here. I'd just like to take a moment to thank some of our patrons. Demoneyes Nightkiller, Grey Dodgen, Jessica Rowden, Katharine Brinker, Lina Vargas, Morgan Souza, Myoungjin, Zooglemoof, Ten and Nut, Alexandra Iles, Andrew Kornfeld, artisticProgram, Bonnie Pryor, Charlibug, Chomp, Clara Joe Bailey, cuddlykraken, Dare, Dis-Aster, Evangeline, Friendly Cybird, Gurphalia, Joan Flyvolm, Jordan Graham, Caitlin Cottrell, Kale, Cleffy, Lisa Stafford, Lizel, Mark A. Little II, Marta L., Maya Holloway, Moth Princess, Nora Saban, Robin, Tsuki Mitsukai, UC Story, Abby Norling-Ruggles, Apetov, Adrienne Gilavet, Brianna Schaefer, Bryn Klaus, Cara, Carolyn Seidman, Crowley, Emma Armstrong, Jessica and Anthony Moltisanti, Kelwyn Brennan, Kit. Thank you all. We really appreciate your support. If you'd like to join them, go to www.patreon.com/rustyquill and take a look at our rewards.